I really never thought I'd get to this point of me reviewing this game. If I ever did review this game, I would assume it was because of how awful it is. But The Forest really turned itself around in the past few years that it's been alive. Now, way back in 2014, the first public release of The Forest was out. And from the start, it was very obvious this game had potential. It took the survival genre and placed it in a whole new, not new location, but a whole new enemy that you were worried about. The game actually had a setup to a story, which was very, and still is very uncommon for the survival genre. The island, which is really amazing to explore. So, with all this personal potential that I saw in this game, how did this game actually end up doing? Let's crash land into the forest and find out. So at first it seems like your very basic story. You're in an airplane, you crash land on an island on a remote location and now have the objective to find your son. The potential I saw in the story mode from the get-go though is your son just wasn't like disappeared. You actually watched as a strange creature came, picked him up, and ran away. And just like that, you're thrown into the forest with nothing but a survival handbook for some basic crafting, a small red survival axe. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about the actual story of the game, for it has some twists and unexpected endings and turns, so I don't want to spoil anything for you, so we're just going to go ahead and move on right to gameplay. Okay, so at the base, this game is honestly scary. It takes this remote island that you have no idea, like, what's on it, what you're with. During the day, you see a few animals scattered around, and the thing is that the enemies sort of progress as you go on. You know, you'll see them here and there at the beginning of the game. It'll be a couple days, you'll explore, you'll see one kind of just run away from you or across your screen, and then like the longer you play the game, the more they'll kind of stalk you and actually start to engage in combat with you. And it's awesome because these things aren't just zombies or mutants. These things are like cannibals. They're in tribes, they use weapons, they're smart. They actually know how to use the land and use stuff around them to get to you. And on top of all of that, there are even variants to the cannibals. There are giant cannibals that are blind and just kind of run through everything. There are smaller ones. They're like the tribe leaders that use the weapons. There are just different variations. Like there's really red cannibals. It goes really in depth with the enemies, and it really shows. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the crafting now. The crafting in this game is really well done. It gives you some basic recipes to go off of, but really gives you the chance to sort of find some out for yourself. And the whole base building, it gives you some basic buildings to build, some walls, but overall you can actually go crazy with this game. It lets you build basic fortresses, you can build some walls around some cool buildings that you think are nice, you know, have a little like village, or you can even build some tree houses, have like ladders going up and just sort of stay above everything. You can even have houseboats in this game, which I honestly would not recommend because they go at so slow. I tried to use some houseboats to get around, and it was just ended up being awful, just on speed wise. Even the inventory screen had so much time put into it. It's not just this basic like press tab and you can see your character and how many boxes you can hold stuff in. You can actually like see, you open up this like backpack and on the floors every item in your inventory. It's really well done. Now the actual combat in this game is pretty well done, which is a step in the right direction already, taken from a lot of other survival games. You can customize your melee weapons, you can add teeth to them to make them more powerful, you can put a little cloth around it, light it on fire, and it is the best idea to do in that game. Adding any type of fire to your weapon makes it incredibly useful, and when you're actually doing melee combat, a well-placed block is everything, and it's amazing when you put that block down, they get like stunned for a second, you hit them with a fire, and you have the upper hand in that battle now. It's just a really fun experience. And lastly, this is the game to play with a couple friends. This is the perfect co-op survival game where it's not PvP focused, it's PvE focused. Now I know there was a few Let's Plays I watched of like people getting like 2 groups of 5 and like PvPing or PvEing, like, doing all that, which was amazing. That looked like a lot of fun. But I enjoyed the PvE with just a friend of mine the most. A couple of notes to add. This is by far my girlfriend's favorite game. This is the only game that we've played once and she just wanted to play again. She doesn't play many video games, but The Forest. The Forest is the game that she loved, and I don't even blame her. This game is so great. I'm happy she enjoyed it. She was the person I played co-op with. We just had a grand time. Even though I was playing on a laptop, capped at like 25 FPS, it was just great. We spent hours into this game, like every single day. After I got off work, we'd play it for like 2 to 3 hours, and we'd go to 7-Eleven in the middle of the night, come back and play for some more hours. It was just a great time. Now, unfortunately, this game does suffer from some slight bad things. There are some minor bugs still. There's some game-breaking glitches that if you don't save before they happen, or save relatively somewhere in between that they happen, you are gonna have to backtrack a long time. At the very end of the game, you jump into this giant cavern. You have to climb down. It's a very hard thing to do. And once we got down there, my girlfriend fell through the ground, and we hadn't saved for a while. We had to do it all over again. That was painful, and I hope that it got fixed. That was forever ago when we played that. There were some times where I couldn't craft certain weapons. That was just a quick restart of the game fixed that. There were some ragdoll issues that if you killed an enemy, sometimes their body would just float in the middle of the air, which, again, that's not a terrible game-breaking issue. There was a time that we built a houseboat and it just didn't work. We got on it, tried to like sail one direction, didn't work, so like, okay. Got out, pushed it, and then tried to sail a different direction, still didn't work, so we spent all this time collecting all this wood, and the houseboat just didn't work. It was a big waste of time and very frustrating. It only happened to us once, luckily. We did build another houseboat later on, and it worked, so that was good that it was just kind of like a one-time issue. Now, my last complaint is a very personal thing. It's that you can only carry raw meat. If you cook meat, you have to eat it then and there. This is just sort of like a weird inventory thing for me. Like, I wanted to cook meat and take it with me. So instead of cooking meat and take it with you, you have to bring all the supplies to make a fire, bring a few raw meat that hopefully are not close to expiring. If you're going into a cave or fighting the final boss, which is in the cave. So if you're going into the final cave, you have to take all these supplies. Luckily, the final cave has some like candy machines and stuff to eat, but in all the other situations, you have to bring stuff to eat and build a fire, and it just gets a little cumbersome and annoying. This game, without a doubt in my head, is worth the time and money that I put into it. This game is only $15, which is a steal. Like, the fact that they're selling this game at $15 is mind-blowing. You are stealing from the company at that point, and I'm sorry, company, for doing that to you. Because this game should be at least $30 to $40. So buying 2 copies of the game was $30, and putting hours upon hours into this game didn't feel like a waste of time at all. The game really rewards you for playing it. It always feels great when you progress in the game and get closer to finding your son. Some concluding statements from my girlfriend. She's had to say, the best game ever, so good, I don't get it, it should be made into a movie. Some fair statements. Like I said, that is her favorite game, so she by far would recommend this game to you. So her final rating for this game, obviously, is a 10 out of 10. Mine would be a 9.10. If we're being honest, this game beyond deserves to be played. If you have not played it and you like survival games, go play it. The slight bugs, the little issue with inventory for me, and you do need a better rig to run it, is why I don't give it a 10 out of 10, but this game, seriously, you deserve to play it. If you guys enjoyed the video, if you guys could leave a like, that'd be super helpful. If you guys like survival games, be sure to subscribe because I'm covering survival games. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.